Okay, awesome. All right, you guys, welcome to our Body Electric weekly webinar. We are officially in the month of March, which is exciting. Time flies when you're having fun. So tonight I'm excited to showcase one of our very own Body Electric coaches. Rose is a rock star in her own right. She's an Emerald coach on our team. She's on the Be Ignited team with Tara Obermeyer. And a few months ago, we asked her to do a little video on our sneak peek. And even though I've met Rose multiple times and I've hung out with her a little bit at Summit and that sort of thing, I was blown away with her presentation for the sneak peek that we did. And so naturally I thought, okay, this person's gonna have to talk some more. We're gonna have to figure out what her secret sauce is or what her secret superpowers are. So it turns out I've heard from Tara and others, and I've seen her rock the free groups. I see her constantly being consistent and posting about her free groups. So I'm excited to hear from her. This is actually, I think I've admitted to you guys before, I've never run a free group before, ever, in my 7 years as a coach. So I've actually set it out. It's on my little goal whiteboard right now. I'm looking at it. I've set out to actually run a free group this month for the first time ever. And so I'm going to be taking notes right alongside you. I want to hear how she does it, what she's doing to make it work. So I'm going to turn it over to her. We are recording as usual. So if you guys have any questions, if you could hold them for her until the very end, that would be fantastic. The only announcement that I have that I want to make sure that I share, and I'm glad I just thought of it, is the Jericho McMatthews event, which is on March 18th. As of 3 p.m. today, there were 7 tickets left. So if you have not gotten your ticket for that event, they are capping the event. I think they're capping it like 200 or 250. So if you're thinking you want to go, grab your ticket. I guarantee you that if for some reason something comes up, which I hope it doesn't, you'll be able to resell the ticket. So if you don't have that, make that a priority for, now-ish. So, okay, Rose, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend. Take it away.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on, as Jenny said, the free challenge groups. And I've kind of just learned these tips through trial and error. I've learned some of the tips from the different calls that we've had and different individuals at Summit. And so I've just kind of collected all of these and put these together. So many of these you may have heard, or they're just going to be reminders. And I thought, as a visual learner myself and as a teacher, I had to make a cute little PowerPoint so that I could share that with you as well. So I'm going to pull that up and then just walk you through some of the ideas and different things that we do. So let me pull that up real quick. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so first of all, just like creating it, one thing that I've been taught is to keep it short, right? 5 to 7 days at the most. Generally, I keep it to 5. I've tried the 7 days, and by that 5th day, if you go from like Monday till Sunday, by Friday, they're gone, right? So each day, fewer and fewer people end up being on the challenge. So if you can stick to the 5 days, that's going to be your best bet. And then, create something fun. It can go along with the holidays. It can go along with the theme. So one that we just did recently in February was the Love Yourself Challenge. And we focused on different parts of your body to love yourself more. So one day we did arms. Another day we did abs. A different day we did legs. The other one, for Thanksgiving, I did a Planksgiving challenge. And each day they had different types of planks, different variations for it. So a fun name, a little visual. Some other ones that I've done. One that they really liked was a butt and gut. So they really seem to like those different, fun names that go along with it. I did a back to school upper body blast, a leap into spring leg challenge. So I always try and have some sort of topic or theme that really, goes along with it. So I've really focused more on the workouts, but I know other people who have done a clean eating one, a crockpot challenge. I think that we have talked as a team about our upcoming one, moving away from the workouts, and we're going to do something with, water and hydration, because that seems to be a focus in our challenge group right now, that most people don't drink enough water. And so I try and do different things to get different individuals to sign up. I always have my group of challengers, but I also want to find a different pocket of people. So I think it's important to switch your free challenge groups up so it's not always the same thing over and over again. So that's just some tips as you're getting ready with your creating. Some other things is just to make sure that with your details that you're really descriptive. I always encourage people to invite their friends. And so even in my little blurb, it says invite a buddy or a family member. It gets more people in your challenge group. It gets more people that you can reach out to. And oftentimes, if they have a friend, then they'll get into it more as well. And so I actually have a lead for the month of March for my last challenge group. And it was because they invited a friend to come along with them. So more people in there, the more opportunities you have to meet new people and make those friends with them. My other suggestion is to advertise, right? I advertise on my own Facebook page. I advertise on my like page and do this several times, right? I generally say to create the event a week to a week and a half, no longer than a week and a half. That seems to be the best span for me, at least, is approximately a week and a half out from the actual event. And that way I have a good solid week to invite and to advertise. I actually, invite through that page of people I know so that when I advertise the event, it'll say 10 people are going. And so if you see that people are already going to an event, then that attracts more people as well. And so I invite the people that I know who always come to my challenge groups to get those numbers up. So that creates some interest as well. Couple other things to think about when you're creating is if you want to do this individually or collaboratively. So I've done both ways. The like back to school upper body blast I did by myself, and I just kind of focused on some different teachers, and I had that kind of group with me. That Love Yourself challenge that we did in February, we actually did it as a Be Ignited group, and we did it for our Team Cup, so there was 5 of us. And that was really a neat way to get all of us in there together and get different faces involved. And so each day we would have a different coach lead the events or the challenge for the day. So you can do it both ways, either individually or with a group. So I think that's it for the creating. The next part is, like before the actual event, kind of what I said before was making sure that you advertise at least that week in advance. The other thing that I do that we've started to do in this like March Madness is to actually add hype and to add more kind of like credibility and ethos to it. So I post daily or every other page or every other day. So I might post a quote. These are quotes that I used for our February Love Yourself challenge. And so I try to make sure that the quotes went along with the theme, right? Fall in love with taking care of yourself, and, talked about invite a friend, make sure that you are ready to add some extra accountability. And then I also asked them a question. And this was maybe a first time that I've done this. And I had so much feedback and so many people commenting that it created more interest and had other people noticing. I just said, what part of the body, what part do you want to focus on? And of course, most people said their abs or, their legs. And so I had them drop their suggestion below, and I probably had 20 different people commenting and giving advice and already getting into it, before we started. And then I always give them reminders. Hey, reminder that we're going to start in 5 days. We're going to start in 3 days. Just adding that hype, getting them ready to go. That way it, goes out into your feed. The more that you post in there, you get new eyes on it. So as much as you can advertise, put your quotes in there, add questions in there, just different things like that to get it going and get more people involved. Okay, so drop your questions. I'll check them here in a minute to see if you have any questions so far. I'm kind of going through this fairly fast, so if you need anything, just let me know. Okay, so then the actual event, as I said, we've done this differently depending on if you are doing it by yourself or with a group. Some tips that I would suggest with this is to make sure that you label your lead post, that you say, today's Monday, this is what you need for today, and pin it so that it always goes to the top of your feed. And so it's easy for the members who are doing this to complete it and to find it. And then I always just have them comment underneath the post so that way you can have everybody together and it's easy to check to see who is posted. You can add comments quickly, and it just keeps everything flowing smoothly, and they're not posting randomly throughout the whole entire event. The other thing that might push a lot of people out of their comfort zone, I would say to do videos, right? I've done videos for my last 3 challenge groups, and it is worked phenomenally. I have a video of myself, and I show them the move. I show them modifications. I explain, you need to make sure you keep your back straight, make sure you bend your knees or put your knee shoulder width apart. So you can walk them through the different movements, describe what you're doing. And I think this really helps to show them exactly what they're supposed to do. And they see you, they're drawn to you, they're drawn to your personality. And if you just throw a picture up, here, this is a plank, this is what you're supposed to do, they tend to look at it and then just forget it or not even complete it. But if they see you, they see that you're excited, then there's going to be more interaction and more engagement in it. But you'll notice that on that first example, I'd have my video at the top, and then underneath I do explain to them what they are, the correct terminology, and remind them what they need to do with that. Also, I always have some sort of post requirement. So not only do you have to do your challenge for the day, such as the hammer curls, the bent over rows, but you also have to post. And it's fun to have different things. I know a lot of individuals get tired of selfies. So I usually make them do at least one selfie. On this day, that Monday, it was arm day. So they had to, do a picture of the gun show. But a lot of people are hesitant to post pictures. So I try to do different things where they have to reply with a comment. This one says, I am strong. And then they had to talk about the challenge. What was their favorite move? What was the most challenging? And then I added a bonus that they could also post a picture, a selfie, for an extra little bonus prize. But some other things that have worked well. This last one, we did like inspirational quotes, trying to have everybody post a quote that's meaningful to them, inspires them, and that way we're all supporting each other, motivating. Another one that I've done that I really liked was that I had them write 3 goals. What are your 3 goals for the month of March? And they had to write them down and post them somewhere, like put them on their fridge, put it on the mirror, and then they had to take a picture of that and post it below. So it wasn't them, it was, something else that was keeping them engaged. And I find that tends to get more people to post and to reply than just pictures. So think about different things that you can do. I've had them post their favorite healthy snack or healthy recipes, include a link if they have that. So be creative with your ideas about their posting requirements so that they're different every day. Some days we do the basic win, their workout, their inspiration and nutrition, and just keep it exciting and fun and engaging. The other thing is I make sure that at least on those first 2 days, I comment on every single post. So our last February group was so much fun. I think we had 80 people who actually joined our challenge. And so, yeah, it took me a half an hour each night to go through and comment on everybody's post. But then you would have them posting back and they were commenting on each other's posts. And there was so much engagement and so much motivation behind everybody that it's worth it, and you're showing to them that they're meaningful, that they're worth it, that you are there to help them. And so by spending that extra time, you're creating those relationships with those people that you may not have had before this challenge group. And so then that way in the future, you can continue to say, hey, remember when you did our Love Yourself challenge? what about trying this with us? And so that way you can have the camaraderie and the connection with them. And then the last thing is that I don't do this every day, but usually probably 2 or 3 times I do some sort of little prize, right? So pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone. So on that Monday, if they commented with the I am strong, and then they talked about their challenge, if they also included that picture, then they were entered to win a prize. And so it's just something small. I send them a little goodie bag. It might have a little sample packet of Energize, a little pack of gum, and maybe a granola bar, right? So it doesn't have to be expensive, just a small little prize to kind of get that engagement that you see. And then I always make sure I give them a shout out so that they can see who's winning. And it's every single time they're like, oh, I've never won. This is so exciting. And, so everybody gets really excited if their name is drawn. And so just kind of adds to that group mentality that we're all in this together. And they have so much fun with that. So just a few more things. The last part, sometimes, you kind of forget, Friday's over with. If I did the 5 days, Friday's over with, the weekend's over with, and you kind of space things off. And one of the biggest things that you need to remember is to do that follow-up. So a few things that I try to make sure I do. The first one is do some sort of thank you post, right? This goes in your event page, thanking them for being part of the challenge group. Let them know that, you look forward to doing another with them soon. So just kind of an overall one to everybody in the group. And then you're going to be a little more specific. So another one I've done, and this would be, of course, when I did an individual challenge group, so I wasn't with other coaches, but I invited them to like my page, right? If you haven't been to my page yet, go make sure you like my page. If you haven't signed up to get my email blasts or my monthly newsletter, make sure that, you send me a quick message or drop your name below, and then I'll add you to it. Another one that we did just recently with that February group was let them know about the upcoming sneak peek, right? What is a challenge group, and let them know that they can hop on, check things out, but you're always following up and you're inviting them to something after it. So it might be, as I said, your like page, it might be your emails, but you want to continue to keep that relationship going with them, because this is where I have found quite a few of my coaches and my customers. So this is what's been the most helpful for me to bring in new people, is to have these challenge groups. And then you'll see this last one. As I said, this is the one about, going to my like page or something like that. So I do 1 or 2 of those, but then I also follow up with a voicemail or with a message to them about any upcoming groups that I have. So, with this last February group, I did sign up 1 new individual, but I have 3 leads that we've been talking back and forth. And so I set these up. I try, as we're doing with the March Madness, I kind of front load this. So I try to have one of these events at maybe the beginning of the month or the end of the month, depending on where I'm trying to, pull in new individuals. And so that way, it usually takes me probably 2 weeks to follow up with these people, to see if they're interested in, going to one of our events, trying out a new challenge group that's 30 days long. And this time we're going to focus on the 21-day fix and Shakeology, and really go in depth with their nutrition and their fitness. So those are some of my tips that I have. So I'll come back on here and see what questions you guys might have for me.
I love it. Was that not like the most pro thing you've ever heard? Yay, round of applause. So I love it. I think that covers exactly what I was hoping you would cover. I took a bunch of notes, like 3 pages worth of notes, honestly. But I want to ask you some questions. So And I want, because I really just want to know for my own self too, and I want to also sprinkle in some things for everybody. The first thing that I picked up on a few things. Number one is just in that most recent screen that you just shared was I noticed in your post about liking your page, it was like, just for liking my page, you'll receive a copy of, a free virtual cookbook created by our team. So for those of you guys who are listening to this recorded or who are on here now, who are relatively new, we do have a team cookbook that is available for you to give away. So it's something that we compiled, coaches submitted recipes and we put that together maybe like a year ago. That's something that you can give away in exchange for something, right? So like she's doing it in exchange for likes on her page. You could even do it for people who, join your challenge group. You could give that away for that too. So I saw that, just a little detail, and I wanted to point that out for people who might not know we have that. That's on our website. Okay, so a few things. Okay, the first thing is, let's see. I took too many notes to see what I want to do. Okay, so my first question is, well, I'm trying to decide what I want to ask first, to be honest. Okay, so how do you feel like you manage your time when it comes to, because obviously you work full time, you've got things going on. So when it comes to like, leading people in a free group and then also trying to move them into your challenge group, like how much time comparatively do you spend in this, what I would call top of your funnel, right. business, side of your business versus the challenge group side of the business? Or how do you quantify that? Because it seems like obviously you're putting time and energy into it. So I just love to hear how you're managing that time.
Well, I usually, Tuesday and Wednesday nights are my more open nights, right? The kids don't have as many sports practices, and I teach Turbo Kick on Monday and Thursday. So those days are pretty full. So what I would do sometimes is like on a Tuesday night, right when I get home from work, the kids are, doing whatever they're, coloring or playing or whatever. And I will go downstairs in the basement and I will videotape 2 of my days or 3 of my days, because those only really take about 5-10 minutes. So if I can knock those out a couple right away instead of doing it daily, then that helps me manage my time to do that. And then usually, of course, with most of us, we find those pockets of time. So I usually have to wait until 9 o'clock once my kids are in bed to really, find that little bit of time. It doesn't really take that much time to comment, though. Mm-hmm. Of course, this last one, as I said, was a huge group, but there was 5 of us inviting participants. I've never had that many people. So I usually probably have about 20 participants in my free challenge groups. Some of them are already my coaches or customers. And then about half of them are probably new people who are interested in trying them out. So yeah, it's pretty quick that way.
Okay. Do you feel like, so one thing that I want to point out to the whole team is I love that I picked up on one detail of like the types of things that you're asking them. I mean, I think that questions are great because that's a way of obviously engaging them. But you're asking them from the get-go, in one of those examples, you're asking them what their goals are. Like, what are your goals for this month? So I think, it kind of gave me the idea that the free group gives you guys a platform for asking the questions that we would normally ask, maybe even in a private conversation. Like, what is your ultimate goal? Like, how would you rate your current nutrition, right? Like, how much time per day do you have to exercise? And then you're weighing in those answers so that you know how to better serve them with an actual challenge group, like with a full challenge group later. Because the one thing that has worried about, you guys heard me say at the beginning, I've never run a free group before. And it's because I really don't like working for free. Like I really do feel like I have a lot of value to add, and I want people to buy a challenge pack, and I want them to just buy into what I have to offer. But the reason I want to start embracing them is because I feel like it's almost like a taste tester, right? Like it's a good top of the funnel way to get people to build more trust with you, to realize that you really are putting some time and energy into creating value for them, and you're getting to know their goals. And so I just want to point that out, that like if you haven't run these before, and you're getting, like, it sounds like you're getting even referrals, like people that you don't even really know very well. So asking something like, what is your ultimate goal? What does your nutrition look like? All those questions that we normally ask our people anyway, those are good questions to be asking in the group. So, okay. So another thing that I picked up on too was, it sounds like you've done a lot of different topics. Like you said, like planks and Is there one particular type of group that has been like more successful than the others?
Well, the Planksgiving one is always one that people enjoy. I've done it for 2 years, right? I've done that one for 2 years in a row. And so I've had people ask me, are you going to do the Planksgiving challenge again? And so they look forward to that. And so that one's always a fun one. But generally, if you find an area that seems to be a weakness, so abs, people love to do abs and they'll request that. So I think that's why the Planksgiving one was popular. But just I think the names draw them in. The butt and gut, they're like, yeah, let's do that one. So if it's fun and exciting, I think they'll really get into any of them. Mm-hmm. And one thing to add to that, and there was a question about like the balance. I don't do these all the time. I would say I do them maybe every 3 months, maybe 4 months, because some of these do give me like a 2-month conversation between people. So it's not that I'm doing it all the time. And all those examples were from a recent one or from ones from last year. So I can do one and I will have 3 months worth of conversations following up and talking to them several times because they don't know if they're ready. They don't know if they're the time commitment or the money. And so we have these conversations and I probably have, 6 to 10 follow-ups with them after that. So they hold me for a while. So I'm not, doing them every month. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. It made me think, there are a lot of coaches that are very successful with this exact same system, right? Of running something for free. I love that you pointed out that this should be something short. Like you should not be running a 30-day free group.
Right.
That's just like, who wants to take my time? Like everybody does. So, that's just my personal opinion. 5 days is perfect. Maybe even 7 days. I love that you said that. But you mentioned the abs thing, and I wanted to touch on that. Those of you guys who were on last week's webinar with Maria Romaine, she's sort of a marketing rock star. And I just noticed somehow, I don't know, I get like all of her notifications and I get her email blasts. Apparently she's marketing to me. But I saw today that she decided to run her most recent free group through the Facebook event feature. So for those of you guys who are in the March Madness training, this might make a little bit more sense. But instead of having it, I don't know if you've done this before, Rose, or not, but instead of doing it in a Facebook group where only the people in that group see it, she's doing it on an event page, which means anybody who follows her public posts, anybody that obviously sees it in their news feed, they're getting the same free challenge whether they've clicked going or not. Like I've been seeing everything that she's been posting. And I think have you done it that way?
Yeah, our February one was just a public event.
Yeah.
And so I think that was one reason why we had over 80 participants in it, because they would see us commenting and posting and everybody was involved and they could see their friends doing it. So they jumped on and started to do it with us.
Yeah, I think that seems, when I saw her doing that, I was like, that's brilliant. That makes total sense, because if you're asking for interest publicly and it's free, you might as well do it for everybody and do it for free and let everybody see it. You know what I mean?
And that way,
let's see. Okay. So I think it's funny too, I see a lot of people who I feel like we feel more comfortable as coaches to advertise free groups. You know what I mean? Like, I can even think of a couple of like top coaches who are always talking about their free groups. I see them talking more about their free groups than I do seeing them talk about their actual challenge groups. And I think that's interesting because I'm guessing there's a reason behind that. I'm guessing that they're pulling people into the free group and then having the private conversations. It sounds like you're really building the relationship with these people. So you're adding the value, you're bringing the value every day, and then you're having private conversations to get them to see like, hey, I actually do this even more, right? Like I have something even better to offer you. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's see. I have 2 more things I wanted to mention. So the last thing probably is going to be, I want to make sure that I reiterate to everybody, because Rose is a Group X instructor, so she teaches fitness. So if you guys are not certified Group X instructors or personal trainers, I would probably avoid giving any sort of like demonstrative video. That could get you into a little bit of trouble, but if you can, it's easy to find, like you could go to Google Images or whatever and find like the proper form for a plank and you could post that picture, or you could find another video too. So I wanted to throw that out there. The other thing is that don't feel like, I mean, I love that you're putting the creativity into this, but I started thinking when I was jotting down notes, we have a lot of different resources that are already available, like on our website. And by website, I mean, in this case, the Beachbody website, that you wouldn't even have to really like recreate the wheel or come up with your own content. For example, there's the Turbo Fire program that some of you guys have done. Shalene has what's called a 5-day Inferno. And it's a 5-day meal plan. I really, if I remember it right, I did it a long time ago. I feel like it gave me pretty great results. But it's a 5-day meal plan. Like it tells people what to eat for 5 days. So you wouldn't even have to create that. You could literally just use that. You could advertise a 5-day Inferno. You could send that out. Like everything that's Beachbodies is yours, because you're a coach. So you can use that type of stuff without feeling like you have to recreate the wheel. And then I said that was going to be the last thing, but you know me. So the last thing I'm going to say is, I was going to ask you, you have a like page. So have you ever sponsored an ad for your free group?
I have not.
You've not. I wonder if it might be worth throwing a couple bucks at advertising. Like if you created the free group as the event page.
Right.
If you could put like $5 toward sponsoring that event to people who already like your page. Right? So you know how we've talked before about there's all different, for people who aren't familiar with the like page, don't feel like you have to have it. But if you feel like you like it and you understand it, sometimes it's cool because you can target different things. And so in some cases, you know, it can be difficult to figure out how you're going to target and whether or not it's worth the money. But I really feel like because of the natural organic visibility that Facebook gives events, partnered with, you know, you already have a following of 300 people or however many people on your like page, why not show those people that you have a group coming up? So getting more visibility. And like you said, the more people who click that they're going and the more people that they invite, the more people see that. So that's huge. I think that might be worth it. Okay, so I want to open it up to everybody else because I don't want to talk nonstop, but hopefully you guys found this helpful. Like I said, I'm hoping, I've been seeing some coaches recently. Have you guys seen, who here has an Instant Pot? Like, what is the obsession with this Instant Pot? Have you guys seen the Instant Pot?
I don't know. I haven't.
Oh my goodness. Like I've been seeing a ton of people are just like obsessed. Apparently it's like a crock pot, but you can use it in like 45 seconds or something. Like you can like bake a chicken in like a minute. I don't know. And so I've seen all these people posting about it and they're obsessed. So I either I need to get one or something, but apparently like everybody's running a free group for Instant Pots. So that's sort of the thing right now. But I love sort of taking a spin on something different, doing something different. So, okay. So what questions do you guys have for Rose? I'll let you fire away. You can unmute yourself or you can comment, either way.
Laura wants an Instapot. I've just figured out how to finally use my crock pot, and I bought one that has a timer on it so that it turns off and goes to just like the warming, because I've come home to bricks of black chicken so many times. So I finally bought a nice one. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say I knew that you would do awesome, Rose. This is your element.
Yeah, you
Good
know
job.
She said she was so nervous, and I was like, oh my gosh, don't be nervous, because I heard recently on a podcast that it was a Bob Heilig, that the things that you're most nervous about are the things that you're probably meant to be doing. So
right.
Yeah, when you rocked that sneak peek, I was like, we need to hear about her free groups and how she's doing that too. We just want to, you know, suck your brain. So, okay, you guys, no questions about free groups or anything we've talked about? Oh, Abby asked one. Sorry, I already had it pulled up and I forgot. Okay, do you feel like you found a good balance between full challenge groups and free group invites and or participation? Can you elaborate what you mean, Abby? Like, do you mean like a balance between, sorry.
Well, like if you're inviting and posting about a free group for 2 weeks, but you need people to be in your regular challenge groups,
right?
What's the balance with that?
Well, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I either try to front load it, so it's at the beginning of the month, and I already have a current challenge group going, or I put it at the end of the month, trying to get interest early into the next month. And so that way I'm not, building on top of them. So if I'm advertising for my free group, then most of my posts on my like page will be maybe about just like the coaching experience or finding a group and different things like that. So I try to keep them balanced, so I'm not inviting to a free group and inviting to a challenge group at the same time.
Yeah, you mentioned already too that you're not doing this all the time. This is sort of like a special thing. So I think that probably plays a role too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that make sense, Abby?
So, and oftentimes I'll do the free challenge group and get them interested. And then after that, that's when I start posting to invite to the challenge group. So it kind of leads into it. And so hopefully, as I said, from those free groups, I'm getting people who are interested then to join my challenge groups as well.
I had a thought, because like I said, you guys, I'm taking notes because I want to start figuring this out for myself too. But I was thinking when you were talking, I could totally picture the same. Do you have like the same like token 3 or 4 people that are like, I want in, like every single time? Yeah. So I started thinking about that, and I was like, oh gosh, like, I can already picture who's going to ask me that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I almost feel like maybe, personally, I'll just share with you guys what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I'm going to probably set some rules around mine. Mm-hmm. So like no coaches or customers, of anybody else's, like only people who are either not yet a coach or customer or they're mine. And also the rule, I think I'm going to set a rule of like, you can only participate in one of my free groups. Like, so in other words, maybe like one of my free fitness groups and one of my free nutrition groups, but you can't be in like every single free group that I offer. So with the idea being that it is treated sort of like a sampler, like you can be a part of what I have to offer for 5 days, see if this is something like you want to continue or if you feel like it's a good fit for you, and then go from there. Because otherwise people are just going to be like, oh, Rose has those free groups all the time, I'll just do those free groups, and not want to put the money in. There's going to be people that do that anyway, but the good news is that those are usually the same people who are like the first people to respond to your posts, and they give you good engagement. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like a double-edged sword, but in regard to Abby's question, I think it's important to know that your free group can always act as sort of a back pocket option for your challenge group too. So like if you're trying, for those of you guys who are in March Madness, that I recommend aiming for that Success Club mark early in the month, and then focusing the rest of the month on bringing in leads, converting people to coaches, adding value, mapping things out, right? So hitting your Success Club benchmark early in the month and then moving on after that. And so for me, it makes sense to kind of hold on to the free group as sort of a back pocket. Like if someone misses the deadline to join my next group, or if they're on the fence, or if I can't get a response from them, or if we can't make progress in our conversation or in the invitation, that's when I'm probably going to pull out okay, it seems like now is not a good time for you to move forward with this group, but I have a free Planksgiving challenge or whatever coming up. Would that be something that you'd be interested in? So using the free group as sort of like a back pocket, with the first focus, of course, being getting them into the full group. Does that make sense? So that's something that I'm definitely going to try. Laura Bruno, I can't believe you have no questions. You don't have any questions? Okay. So how many people here have run a free group before? Okay. Do you feel like this gave you some ideas for how you can improve those? What about people who haven't run one? Do you think you're going to run one or try to run one? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Rose, so much. It looks like people don't have any more questions. You must have covered every detail. So I know that I took a ton of notes. I know that I'm excited about doing mine. So if you guys have any questions about free groups, I'm sure you can, tag Rose in the team page. Make sure, I would say to do that and not necessarily send her a private message, just because I'm sure that if you have the question, other people have the question too. So that way she can answer it for everybody, right? So you can just post it in the Body Electric page. I love that you mentioned video. This is something that you're going to hear about more from me. Erin Young and I had a conversation today. Those of you who are in March Madness are going to be hearing from her tomorrow morning. And the phrase that she said it to me, was, I just have a problem with folks who aren't willing to do video with their business. If they're not willing to do video, I'm worried about their leadership potential. Like, how are they going to be able to lead a team if they're not willing to get on video? And so I thought that was like a huge statement. So I'm assuming she might mention that tomorrow when she's talking. But I love that you incorporate that, right? Like, even for you, like, it makes sense. Like, you're a fitness instructor, so doing a demonstration, right, feels comfortable to you to do that sort of thing. But I love that you're getting on video and you're getting uncomfortable even on tonight's call. But I hope that the rest of you guys see that too. Like, you have so much value to offer in your groups, whether it's your free groups or your paid groups. And what people are buying into is you. Like, they're not necessarily, like, they might be excited about their Shakeology, but they're ultimately excited because they're working with you. So if they can see you and hear from you, that's just going to like quadruple the value that they feel when they're a part of your group. So anything else, Rose, before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
Can I just say one thing again? Sorry. I was just going to say, in the Team Cup month, if the free challenge groups are a good place to practice your videos. We had 2 coaches on our team who had never done any video at all, but they put one together and they put it in the challenge, in the free challenge group, which was a nice way to get used to doing that without putting it out to the hundreds of people on your newsfeed. So
for sure,
good practice.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't done your, I think most of you guys here have, if you haven't done your what is a challenge group video, you know, practice it. Just keep practicing. Or if you hate it, if you're like, I watched that thing and I hate it, just keep practicing it. I had a reminiscent moment today with Erin. I said, you know, the first time I was ever asked to do video, which if you guys, when I first started coaching, there wasn't even a video feature, obviously, on Facebook. You could only do photos. And so Christine Dwyer, I was in it was a 90-day boot camp to Diamond. And I was in this boot camp with her, and she made us do 2 things in that boot camp. One was we had to check into a Google Doc every day with the names of the people we were inviting. And number 2 is we had to do a, like, why I became a Beachbody coach video. And I can remember standing outside. I did it outside. I still have it on my YouTube channel. You can find it. Chris, like, I think it was even before the selfie, because the selfie is sort of like a newer, like the last 5-year thing. So it was when he was like videotaping me doing it. I bet I did it 50 times. And I never was crazy about it, but I finally turned it into her. And so it just, I mean, and now I would never hesitate to do that. So I feel like it's definitely a skill set that you're wanting to develop. I know from, you know, Shalene's, everything I've done with her and all of her trainings, that she just feels like video is like the way of the future. It shows way more authenticity. So if you're feeling uncomfortable about it, it's probably the thing that you need to be doing, right? So just like Rose tonight, she was nervous about leading the call, but it's probably something she needs to be doing. So let's just get that on a regular basis. But I think that, you know, if you're in the March Madness group and you're like, you hate that video of yourself so much that you're not sending it to your prospects, you've got to get better at it, because that is money. That is magic. Erin said she has a couple of coaches that practice and practice and practice, and they got their videos, and they've actually been sending it out to people, and they've both already hit Success Club for the month. So I think it's a huge way to connect with people. I feel like we've sort of diverted from the free group topic, but I wanted to just mention it because I think it's a huge, huge component, and it can be a huge component of your free groups and of your challenge groups, because it's a way for you to get in front of people face to face. Yeah. Cool. All right, you guys, we're going to sign off. If you guys have any questions, we'll see it in the team page. Otherwise, I'll post the recording as usual tomorrow morning.
Sounds great.
Cool. Have a good night. Thanks, Rose.
Yeah.
See you guys.